Don in London, hello. It's February the 20th, 2010. Nearly lost my place then, I've only just started. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance was alcohol. My behaviour could be equally addictive. So drinking, dependent for quite a long time, and then addicted. And the same with behaviour and work, relationships, materialism, collecting. I can still do all these things, but one day at a time. I don't drink on a daily basis, and I try not to obsess in terms of behaviour, so not to extremes of work, relationships or collecting, although I'm very good at collecting things, and in amongst everything I've collected of late, I seem to have lost something, and it's been troubling me. And in our programme of recovery we say let it go, and then it'll come back to us. But the trouble is, if we're obsessed about finding something, we turf everything out. And you can't see it, but there's a table full of papers and things which I'm trying to sort through. Anyway, recovery, what's it all about? How to get sober and stay sober one day at a time. The reason why it's one day for me is I've learned that if I can live in the present moment, I have a better handle on what is possible and what is not possible, so what I can and cannot do, and learn the wisdom to know the difference. So although something's been rattling around in my head trying to find something, if I obsess about it, I exclude everything else, and I forget that there are more important things in life to do, like go out and see people, be a part of, and be in recovery. So what helps me in recovery these days? Well, family, friends, community kept me alive long enough. Family, friends and community are very much a part of my life, as is a fellowship, and that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, which helps me understand how to live sober one day at a time. So if I live sober one day at a time, then I have a fighting chance, or rather not a fighting chance, just an opportunity to make the best of what is, rather than worry about what I might have wanted. So I put something out on Facebook yesterday that I went to a meeting last night, and it reminded me what it was like at my first meeting, where I could hardly hold a cup of tea or coffee because I was shaking so badly, and I had no clue about life at all. I completely lost the plot. So from there to now, what's important? My needs are met, I have a roof over my head, family include me, friends include me, and I have a fellowship which supports me in my sobriety. So all to the good, and that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And that meeting last night just endorsed what is life about. It's there to be lived in the moment. And I'm so pleased, because if I cover my needs, which is to be included, loved, and be able to love back, then the wants often float away. So I want to win the lottery, I want to find the thing I've lost, I want to do this, I want to do that. Mostly it all floats away because it's not important. What's important is being included and understanding how to be loved, love back, and do something useful. So this is part of my usefulness, I guess, just sharing a message of experience, strength and hope as it is occurring to me. And so I share about the AA fellowship and a little bit of literature, and one or two quotes which are inspiring me in my research. So, what is AA? The bedrock of my sobriety. Here is the AA preamble, or statement of intent, shared at every meeting of AA, and it reads like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And how we do that? Well, every single person who goes to AA is same-sized, unique, authentic path of recovery for each person, but not special and different. So we have this broad similarity of needing to be sober, and also a desire to stop drinking, and then stay stopped. And then we have a pattern of learning how to live again. And we have a toolkit which includes the 12 steps of action for an individual to change their attitude and behaviour to life. And those 12 steps are covered in this book here, the Daily Reflections, in a very loose way. There's the AA Big Book, which is it's a pleasure to read, actually, because if you're an alcoholic, you relate to the stories, because we all share experience, strength and hope of what it was like back then in the day when we were drinking, and what it's like to be in recovery. And it can be from one day to God knows how many days sober. But we're all in the same place, in the same spot when we go to a meeting. So the person who is one day sober, or just on the way to being sober, has a purpose to be there, as much as the person may have been there for 47 years in some cases that I know. So February, well, it's step 2, and the step 2 reads, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And in the old drinking days we were always taught, and I was taught, in the materialistic and career sense, aim high and get there. So try to be top dog, win at all costs, be competitive. And there's nothing wrong with that, but if it overrules everything else and becomes an obsession beyond anything else, then although we might actually achieve it, at what cost in terms of a balanced life? And the answer is no balance, most often. So for me these days I look for balance in life. So what is this higher power which is important to me? Well, I can't define God because it's beyond definition. It, she, he, it, whatever. But I can say that what works for me as a broad understanding of living is that truth, the absolute universal truth, is God for me. God works through people, sharing experience, strength and hope. And God is love. So truth, listening to others, and love will do me fine as a higher power. So often I can't find the truth on my own. Often I don't know how to love unless I'm loved back. And often my own ideas on the world don't work, so I need input from other people. So being restored to sanity in step 2 is about letting the world in, finding the truth of now, and understanding a little bit about being loved. How about that? That wasn't so hard for me, but it did take me 1 or 2 years of trying to work out, whether I should be a believer in God. And the answer is, God is or isn't. I don't have a choice in the matter. That truth is beyond me most of the time. Anyway, quotes which I like today. It's about laughter, actually. I'm going to do the daily reflections first because I might just run out of time otherwise. So for the 20th of February, it says here, the gift of laughter. And that's what we get in sobriety as well. At this juncture, his AA sponsor usually laughs. Before my recovery from alcoholism began, laughter was one of the most painful sounds I knew. I never laughed, and I felt that anyone else's laughter was directed at me. I was always looking for who was laughing at me, or on my case. My self-pity and anger denied me the simplest of pleasures of lightness of heart. By the end of my drinking, not even alcohol could provoke a drunken giggle in me. When my AA sponsor began to laugh and point out my self-pity and ego-feeding deceptions, I was annoyed and hurt, but it taught me to lighten up and focus on my recovery. I soon learned to laugh at myself, and eventually I taught those I sponsor to laugh also. Every day I ask God to help me stop taking myself too seriously. That's me. And I'm so glad I've rid that out because I'm just about out of time. So we do get to laugh again, and that, it's laughter at the right things that really amuse us. And there is so much humour in the world if we just look at it in the right way, that it's not all about us, and there is a way to live soberly, but with laughter, or laughter, depending on how you like to pronounce it. So what helps me is acceptance of life on life's terms, and not taking myself too seriously. And that serenity prayer to God or good conscience, as is your choice. Your choice. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is, for me, just for today.